Welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. Today I have tons of farmhouse inspiration for you. Starting with this, what used to be a Christmas decor from the dollar spot at Target. And I had gotten a couple of them. One, I redid it with a Christmas theme. Today we're going to do a farmhouse theme decor. So I removed the frame, as you can see. Now I'm going to take some of this chalkboard stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to mark the thickness of it because I am going to now cut it and then replace it or cover it with the chalkboard sticker on it after I sand it down and dust it off very well.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they pass, and I knew it wouldn't last.
Using Rust-Oleum chalk pen and the linen white, I am going to give the frame 3 coats, and then I am going to glue or hot glue the little portion that I just covered with the chalkboard sticker right on the left side of the frame. I had some glue kind of ooze out through the corner, so I am just going to take it off and then just touch up with some black paint from Waverly. All right, I am going to remove the little claw hook temporarily. We're going to put it right back on afterwards. The reason why is because we're going to use some crafting chicken wire, and we're going to cover the open side. I'm going to staple it. Well, first I'm going to cut it to size, and then I'm going to staple it and hot glue it to the back. Using some needle nose pliers, I'm just going to bend a little bit, the ones that are just sticking out a little bit too much, that way it's safe. I am now going to put back that little claw hook it came with. And then I am going to drill 3 holes on the bottom part of the frame. That way I can add some hooks to it where we can hang maybe keys or a light scarf or something like that. And I'm just going to decorate it just very lightly with some boxwood and write the word smile on the chalkboard. And that's it, guys. This one is done, and I think it's absolutely adorable. It'll be perfect for a small little entryway where you can put your keys, and that way you know where they're at, but still look fresh, farmhouse, and it's just maybe $3. That's it, guys. So for this next DIY, I am going to use these two candle jars from the Dollar Tree. One's taller than the other one. And I'm going to wrap the bottom of the smaller one using this very thick and plush yarn from Michaels. I am going to hot glue just the bottom and the top portion of the yarn, and that way I don't have to hot glue all of it because I want to be able to squish it as I go. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we continue.
A buzz on and my favorite song is playing in a Broadway bar. Then you walk in and you're all alone, the hottest in the room by far.
So after I had the bottom one nicely secure, I'm just going to roll around a few times and then start squishing down to the bottom so that I have as little as possible gaps in between each thread.
Look up and our eyes lock and my heart falls straight out of my chest, baby. Your lips and your sweet smile, let me kiss it till I die. For the rest of our lives, yes, you and me were meant to be. For the rest of our lives, drop your guard and take a ride.
I am going to hot glue the last thread there, and I am making sure that I made the cut right where I started the other one. That way all those seams are going to be towards the back of the jar or the vase. I keep calling it jar. What's wrong with me? I had a little gap there that I couldn't get further down, so I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue and a small piece of yarn just to cover it up, and that way it just kind of blends in.
Cause you got what I want, oh, and I got what you need. For the rest of our lives, it's gonna be a done deal, just wait and see.
For the taller one, I am going to do the similar thing, except I am going to just wrap the middle portion.
Well, the sun's up, you wake up, an angel in the morning light.
All right, so now I'm going to take some jute twine from Walmart, and I am going to start doing the same thing, making sure to start right where my yarn ended. And I'm going to wrap it around, not as much as the yarn, but maybe about 1.5 inches on top of it. And once again, secure it right where the other one ends, so that way all the seams are in the back of the vase.
Don't ever wanna leave, the bed's messed up just right. So we make love and we make plans, and God knows that I'm all about it. We're up high, never coming down, baby, just you and I. For the rest of our lives, yes, you and me were meant to be. For the rest of our lives, drop your guard and take a ride with me. Cause you got what I want, oh, and I got what you need. For the rest of our lives, it's gonna be a done deal, just wait and see.
And for the taller one, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do about 1 inch on top and 1 inch on the bottom.
I've known it since I met you. This love, it was a breakthrough. For the rest of our days, we'll be everything we wanna be. For the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives, yes, you and me were meant to be. For the rest of our lives, drop your guard and take a ride with me. Cause you got what I want, oh.
We're just about done with this one. I'm going to add some florals from the Dollar Tree, and I think these vases turned out so beautiful. They're just simple, very farmhouse, but almost very elegant, and I just really love the way they look.
And take a ride with me, cause you got what I want, oh, and I got what you need. For the rest of our lives, it's gonna be a done deal, just wait and see. It's gonna be a done deal, just wait and see. It's gonna be a
This
done
next DIY, I am going to use this round wood plank from the Target dollar spot. I'm going to remove the jute twine that came with it, but we're going to replace it back on at the end here. Now I'm going to measure 3 inches from the top and 3 inches from the bottom and tape it because we're going to be painting it using Waverly chalk paint and the ink. And I gave it 1 coat.
Not long ago you got hurt, someone did you wrong. I can see it in your eyes, it's like your fire is gone. Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face.
After removing the tape, I am going to then place more tape. This time I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch from the line where the black ends. And I am going to also cover the black, that way it won't get ruined. Using Waverly antiquing wax, I am going to just brush on 1 coat and then wipe off the excess to give it a little bit more of an antique brownish look. I am now going to take this stencil that says Farmhouse. I have had this for such a long time. I honestly don't know where I got it, but I love using these stencils, and it's such a great idea for someone who does not have a cutting machine, and it's something that you can reuse project after project like I have. I'm going to use the Waverly ink chalk paint, and I am going to just stenciling it. I'm not looking for perfection. I want it to have a little bit of a distressed look, and I am using a sponge brush. Once I removed the stencil, I am now just going to replace the jute twine on the top. And then using the same white florals from earlier, I am going to create a little swag for the top portion. I'm going to join them together using jute twine and then hot glue it to the top. And we're just about done with this one. And I think, again, this one turned out so beautiful. I just love the simplicity of these projects. I love that they're just so fresh, so farmhouse, but yet very elegant. And I really love the way this one turned out as well. Friends, I do want to remind you that I do have an Instagram account where I post daily, multiple times a day, little inspirational quotes, behind the scenes looks, hauls. I'll show you what I bought, what I'm going to be using in my DIYs. So if you have an account, I'd love to connect with you there. I do have a link to my page down in the description box. I thought about just doing the 3 DIYs previously to this one. However, I just thought, let's just do one more, and I'm going to use the piece of scrap wood that I had left over from the first DIY. I'm going to spray some adhesive spray on the back side, and then I'm going to use this craft paper from Michael's, and cut the X's using my rotary cutter. I am now going to take some crafting sticks. I actually going to paint here 5, but I ended up painting 4 additional ones, and I am just going to give them 2 coats and let them fully dry. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is using these sticks to create a frame around the square or around the rectangle, kind of making it look like a window. So I am going to cut off the edges, like the rounded edges. For this first one here, there's no measurement needed, so I'm just going to cut out the rounded edges, hot glue it to the edge. For the next one, I'm just going to take one side, cut off the rounded edge, and then make a small measurement and cut where needed. This dowel cutter I bought on Amazon. I do have it on my Amazon store. Actually, a lot of the tools, supplies, paint, a lot of the things that I use on my videos, I do have on my Amazon store, and it is linked down below in the description box. So I'm just going to continue here, measuring, cutting, and gluing a frame all around the window.
Tells you let go. Time to leave the past. You did what you knew. Slow down and rest. You've been through a war.
Alright, so now we are going to slow it down a little bit because I know a lot of you have mentioned that you are new crafters, so I want to take my time and kind of show you what I'm doing here. I am taking 2 craft sticks like you see here, and I marked where I needed to make cuts. So they were just angle cuts. I basically just place it over the corners and then kind of draw where the lines would go. And I'm going to keep doing it here so that you can see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Once I have that one, I am now going to just cut off the rounded end on that first one and hot glue it. For the next stick, I'm just once again going to cut off the rounded edge on another stick, and I am going to place it right at the end of the first one. Now where you see in the corner where it overlaps, now I'm just going to draw lines so I know where I need to make cuts. And you'll see it here that I am just basically following the same line where the bottom sticks are, and that'll give me the angle where I know where to place the blade and make the cuts.
There's a song inside your soul.
Now for the other ones, it's going to be a couple more cuts, but same concept. Going to place both sticks, make a cut, or mark where to cut, mark the middle portion as well, cut with my tool, and hot glue it. And the same thing with the other one. Place it on top, mark where I need to cut, both on the corner as well as in the middle, and then hot glue it once I have the cuts made. If it doesn't quite fit as good as you want it, you can always take a little bit at a time until you get the right fit. Now that we have a cute little window Handmade, I am going to take this greenery that I got at Dollar General. I want to make a wreath here, but an appropriate size wreath for this tiny window. So I'm just going to use a couple of the leaf branches and I'm going to join them together. I'm going to cut the top portion of it, creating a little stick where I can then push it in where the other one ends, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now that I have a plain stick down in the top, I am going to then push it there, and I'm going to do the same on the top one so that when I join them, now I have a cute little circle wreath. I'm going to hot glue the bottom and the top. Taking this Dollar Tree ribbon, which I think is so cute, I am going to make a very simple bow, appropriate size for the wreath, and I'm going to hot glue it to the top. And now I am going to move some of the leaves here and there just to kind of open up the middle portion. So the middle portion is a little bit crowded with leaves, so I'm just going to start hot gluing them and pushing them out towards the center or towards the, I guess, like the round part of the wreath, just getting it away from the center. And then once I do that, we are all done.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this sign that I have over my sink in the kitchen. Although it's very cute, I do want to update it. So I'm going to remove the vinyl that is already on it. This was obviously not a permanent vinyl. You can see all the splatter of like water, maybe even paint as I'm washing my brushes. So I'm just going to remove it, and then I am going to give it a quick wipe to remove any water stains, and then also give it a fresh, very, very light coat of paint. So light that I'm not even going to touch the edges. I want to keep the distressed look, but I do want to freshen it up.
Not long ago you got hurt, someone did you wrong. I can see it in your eyes, it's like your fire is gone.
Using my Cricut, I purchased this design from Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to weed it and apply it right on top of the board.
Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna go out, we can go out. You can hide away just for one night. But if you wanna cry, just let it out. I'm by your side now. Just hold on a bit more, 'cause I know you only see the rain, not the rainbow. Deep down, I know you're strong. Give them hell, baby, prove them wrong. Just hold on a bit more, 'cause I know you only see the rain, not the rainbow. I know you'll get up again. Better stand up tall, I know you can be brave, brave, brave. I know you can be brave, brave, brave. I know we did you wrong, wish I could take your pain away. 'Cause
Right now I'm going to use my X-Acto knife just to kind of open up the little vinyls that are over the slits of the board. That way it just looks a little bit more natural. I've been doing this to my signs and it just really makes a big difference. And then that's it for this one, guys. Again, I'm going to show you more of a staged look at the sign, but at the end of the video I'm going to show you where it is in my kitchen so you can see it right above the sink.
seeing tears streaming down your face. I know you're strong, won't feel
for this next DIY, I am going to update the wreath on this home sign that I have in my kitchen. And I'm not going to do much to it. I will be removing all of the greenery, and I am going to replace it with a beautiful flower from Target Dollar Spot. But before I show you that, I'm going to tell you about my cutest little vacuum that I purchased on Amazon. This is a desktop or workstation little vacuum, and I always have so much debris from all my projects, and I tell you what, I really, really love it. It's so cute, and it works really well. It is in my Amazon store. All right, so here's the flower. I got this at the Target Dollar Spot, and I've been using them because it's just so cute. And I'm going to keep this wreath very simple. You know me, and simplicity. So I'm just going to place it right on the right side of the wreath. And then I'm going to place some of the leaves that it came with. Now, I don't like using hot glue for the same reason that you just saw. I am able to remove what I need to remove and reuse as I needed. However, for the bottom leaf, I did have to add just a little bit of hot glue, and that's it for this one, guys. Such a beautiful little wreath, updated for spring, and it looks gorgeous on my home sign in my kitchen. Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this tin, kind of like a basket planter like thing. I thrifted this about 2 years ago, and I updated it, and I hadn't done anything with it. So today I am going to give it more of a springtime update. I got these faux, is it boxwood? I don't think it's boxwood, but they're like dangling, they hang, they're like just very hangy kind of, I don't know what to call them. Can you tell? Anyways, you see what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to place them kind of inside, bunched up, as well as just letting them hang on the side. And that's it for this one. Another easy one, but what a great way to just update and give this basket a fresh new look.
I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
Alright, so for this one here, we are going to take these 3 tags that I got at the Dollar General. Obviously, originally you can see the price was $5, but when I got them, it was about like 2 years ago, and they were completely down from $5 to like 75 cents. It was something ridiculous. I grabbed every single one of them that they had. So for this project, we're going to use 3 of these, and we're going to remove everything from them, including the little round portion. And then I'm going to sand down everything to a smooth surface. I am now going to take these extra large crafting sticks, and I'm going to cut off the rounded end. I am then going to kind of sort of measure just enough to cover that round area that was there originally. Now, originally, I thought I would use 3 of these, but I ended up just using 2 of them, and then I'm going to hot glue them in place.
Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find, I'm standing right here. I know that I told you we're over, I swear that I'm sober, just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me. Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right, we'll find the remedy, or would you stay with me?
Now, using wood glue and brad nails, I am going to join all 3 together. And now I am going to give everything 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
I swear that I'm sober. Just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me. Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let?
And then for a little bit more of a farmhouse look, I am going to distress them lightly, focusing more on the edges. And then I had to retouch just a little bit the areas where there was still some glue in there where I couldn't completely remove. I'm just gonna touch up with some paint, that way they're not as noticeable. So what we're creating today here is barns. As you can tell, the little top portion where that round circle thing was, I removed that, and then replacing it with the sticks gave me the look of like windows. So I think these 3 tags look adorable as barns. Using my Cricut, I cut the phrase, "Life is better at the farm," along with a little pig, a chicken and its chick, and a cow.
If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Stay till the morning light. Or would you
Because of the length of the transfer tape that I already had cut was not long enough, I should have cut a new one, but you know, I try to save money. I glued, or not glued, I transferred the life right on it first, so you could tell it's a little higher, so I'm going to have to move that down a bit. You'll see that here in a minute. And then I'm just going to transfer the animals right underneath.
follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning? Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Till the morning light. 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 I know that I told you we're over. I swear that I'm so.
And now using a very small detail brush and Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the aged gray, I am going to kind of highlight the edges of the windows and give them more of a barn farmhouse style. And that's it for this one, guys. Once I do this, I think these turned out so cute. And who would have thought that 3 tags would look like barns? Well, I think they look super adorable, and I love the way they turned out.
Follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Till the morning light. 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 I know that I told you we're over. I swear that I'm sober. Just listen, I miss you. And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her.
All right, friends, so moving along for this next DIY, I am going to take some foam board from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to cut 2 pieces. And I am going to leave them the width of it, so about 20 inches wide. And then I am going to mark, or I marked 10 inches down, and now I'm going to cut using an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to do the same thing for the second piece and then hot glue them together.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby.
Using my Cricut, I cut out the phrase, "Keep life simple. There is beauty in simplicity." I was inspired by a sign that I saw on wayfair.com. And guys, it was so beautiful. So I took the same phrase, and now the sign doesn't look exactly like it, but I just love the message. If you follow me, you know that my slogan, I guess, is right. Let's keep it simple. I love simplicity, and I just thought this sign was perfect to have here at home. So I'm just going to transfer it just as kind of like what I saw on the inspiration piece. And then in a little bit, we're going to frame out the sign using some ribbon.
Years they pass, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away. 'Cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama.
I'm going to freehand a C here because I did not weed it out. So when I tried to find it in the garbage, but yeah, no, it was lost. So I just hand wrote it. I think it came out okay. All right, so I'm going to use this ribbon. It's kind of like a sweater ribbon. It's really cool. It's like a charcoal gray. And I'm just going to hot glue it on all the edges and just kind of frame the sign. And that's it, guys. I mean, such a simple one. I really love, again, the simplicity of it and the message. And of course, that ribbon is just so cozy. I really loved it.
I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment, babe. Weeks and months and years they pass, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away. 'Cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said. Weeks and months and years they passed, but then I found something I knew would last. Just like my mama said. Gradually fades away. All the nights that end.
All right, guys, so for this next DIY, I am going to take already an existing sign that I had and made several months ago, and I am going to use the back side. I love the size of it, and I think the idea of having a two-sided sign is always such a smart way of reusing your decor. On the back side, I am going to give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the ink.
Look out, here she comes. The woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her.
Once it was dry, I am going to distress the edges using my palm sander and a 220 grit sandpaper.
How I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a go-
And then using Cricut Design Space, I purchased this windmill design, which I thought was very cute. And I am going to actually weed it out, but I'm not going to need the actual top portion of the windmill. I'm only going to need the bottom portion, and you're going to see why here in a minute. But I'm going to keep it, of course, because you never know if I'm going to use it in another project. And the phrase that I'm going to use on this sign is the same phrase that I used on the first one, that it said, "Life is better at the farm," but it's just going to have a different design and style to it.
Lost in these walls. 'cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks, I watch her when she walks. She's giving me these feelings that I've never felt before, but she will never know that I love her so well. She's with somebody else and I will have to let her go. She will never know, na-na, never know, na-na. She will never know, na-na, never know, na-na. She'll never know.
For the windmill portion, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree windmill. I'm going to just remove the windmill part, and then I am going to spray paint it using Rust-Oleum flat white spray paint.
It's like she stole my heart without knowing she did. But I guess that it will pass. Yeah, I can't be.
I am going to drill a hole where I want the windmill to sit in, and then I am going to just place a little bit of hot glue in the hole and then place the windmill on it. And then I'm just going to place the original rope that was already on there. I'm going to place it right back on it.
I ain't got nothing left. I've been staring at the ceiling. I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed to do? I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
For this next DIY, I am going to take this sheet. It's just a bed sheet that I thrifted several months ago, and I'm just going to cut a piece. Now, I just measured the width of it, so I want it to be about 20 inches, but the length of it, I just kind of eyed it out just to kind of, I don't know, what I wanted to see, I guess. Once I had it cut, I folded it in half. I am now going to hot glue 2 of the sides, and then I am going to flip it inside out. That way I can start designing the top of the what will be a pillow.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday.
Taking the beautiful ribbon that Casey sent me, I am going to now start hot gluing it on the pillow. I was trying to figure out what design to make, and you know me, and I like simplicity, so I kept it pretty simple, but I wanted to give it a V shape and then add 3 layers of the ribbon. Now I'm adding very little amount of glue because I don't want it to seep all through the edges, and this ribbon, I mean, it's lightweight, it'll stick. So I'm just going to, again, hot glue in a V shape, bring it right back down to the other corner, and I'm going to do that 3 times.
And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause we're growing up, falling in love.
using some pillow stuffing from Walmart, I am going to just stuff the pillowcase and then fold the last edge, so the last opening, kind of fold the seams in and then hot glue it, and then we'll be done with this one, guys. Such a beautiful little accent pillow, especially for like summer. I think it screams summer or spring. It just has that farmhouse fresh look that I really love, and so happy that Casey sent me. Again, I had it in my cart to send it to my person, and I cannot believe I didn't send it, but I'm so glad I got it. So thank you, Casey, for sending me this one.
gradually fades away. All the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away. 'Cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said.
So for this next DIY, I am going to use the jute twine that Casey sent me, and I'm also going to be using some of that same ribbon that I used earlier. Now, at first I thought I am going to take one strand of the ribbon and then 4 strands of the jute twine, split it even, and braid it together to create one strand. Well, as I was doing that, I realized that as you're braiding, because it's such a long strand, that you're braiding on top, but it starts to tangle on the bottom. So once I was about, I don't know, a few strands in or a few, I said, nope, stop it. Let's move on. So I did end up braiding maybe about, I don't know, maybe 24 inches, but it's pretty long. So I stopped, and then you're going to see it here in a second how I ended up just doing it. So I taped the one end vertically on the vase. This vase is from the Dollar Tree. And then I started to add just a small little row of hot glue and start hot gluing the first go around. So the first layer is going to be hot glued. That's because we wanted to make sure it's secure. And then I'm just going to start rolling it and pressing it down as I go up. Now, I honestly don't know how far up this is going to take me. It was hard to kind of gauge, but I'm hoping it takes me to around where the curve is. And you're going to see what I do afterwards. So once I start rolling, I start then, once I'm reaching the end of my strand, I then start hot gluing again, so to secure that last few go arounds.
I watch you as you dry. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on. I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment.
You can see here how I'm no longer have like the braid. So what I'm doing is I'm just twisting the jute twine as well as the ribbon as I go. So I just kind of twist and glue, twist and kind of, you see what I'm doing. And it actually looks exactly the same as the portion that was braided. So I'm glad I did not spend all that time braiding it, because it would have taken me forever. All right, so now that I got where the end of the strand took me, I'm going to take some more jute twine. This one's a little thicker. This one's from Walmart. And I'm just going to finish wrapping the rest of the vase. At first I thought maybe I just, add more of the ribbon, but I actually love the way it turned out, how the ribbon just kind of ends at the curve and then it's just jute twine. I'm going to secure it on the rim with some hot glue and we'll be done, guys. Such a simple one. I think I would have made it a lot more complicated if I kept braiding. I'm glad I stopped, but such a beautiful vase.
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head. but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead.
Right in. I'm going to take this, it's like a sewing machine. It's older. I used to have it in my studio with a sewing machine, but on top of it. And then it moved and it did something else. And finally, I decided to just give my studio an update. So today I'm going to take the door off and I am going to make a beautiful sign with it. So after I removed it, I'm going to sand it very, very well and clean it very, very well, making sure there's no dust, no dirt on the board.
Not long ago, you got hurt, someone did you wrong. I can see it in your eyes, it's like your fire is gone. Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face.
After everything was clean and dust-free, I am now going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
If you wanna go out, we can go out.
I am going to cut a 12 by 12, so the width of it already comes into 12. So I'm just going to use my square to measure 12 inches down. Then I'm going to use my Cricut paper cutter, and then I am going to place it on my mat.
Look out, here she comes. The woman that I love.
So now it's time to weed. So basically I'm just going to start just kind of lightly press. Now depending on the material, you may have to bend it a little bit. You may have to you'll learn to work with it. With this one, you can barely see the cut because of the texture and the metallic look to it, but it's there. So I'm just going to weed out the flower.
How I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks. I watch.
Decided that I did want a little bit of a distressed look, not on the whole board, just on the edges. And I'm going to do that using my electric sander as well as my sanding block to get down in the edges. Once I have that, I make sure that it is completely dust free. I want my vinyl to stick to the board, so I'm making sure that I am just really wiping it over and over again to ensure that it's going to stick. I am now going to take the design and I'm going to cut about maybe 2/3 of it off. And I know it seems like I'm crazy, right? But it's because I'm going to use the larger one on the bottom and then the smaller one on top. So I'm going to remove the backing of the transfer tape. This is going to, not the transfer tape, the backing of the vinyl of the design. And I'm just going to apply it or just place it where I want it to go. And then carefully just massage it until everything is stuck. And you do have the little scraper tool that Cricut has. I do use it here and there. I'm so used to using my fingers, but you're going to see me using it in a little bit. Look how beautiful that flower looks. For the smaller one, I'm going to do the same thing, but on the top left. Using Cricut Design Space, I also designed a phrase that it says, "Your grace carries me through it all." And using Cricut's glossy permanent vinyl, I am going to place it, there's a little scraper. I'm going to place it right on the top of the sign. And that's about it for this one, guys. This one's so beautiful. I really love how fresh it looks, and it is a big size, guys. This is not a little small little sign. This is a big sign. I really love the way it turned out. What an awesome way to use that table and yeah, get it done.
She's giving me these I love her so well. She's with somebody else, and I will have to let her go. She will never know, na-na. Never know, na-na. She will never know, na-na. Never know, na-na. She'll never know. It's like she stole.
All right, so for this DIY, I am going to take 3 Dollar Tree plastic little plates and some Dollar Tree nautical rope. And I believe I used about 3.5 ropes. I'm just going to start by hot gluing and rolling it from the middle to the outside. So starting in the center in the middle and working my way to the outside, adding hot glue with every turn.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you just
Towards the end, once I reached the very, very thin part of the plate, like the rim, I just added a little bit of hot glue in between the rim and the rope actually stuck really well. And I did the same thing on all 3 plates.
hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world.
Now, you can skip this as you want. I mean, seriously, I think they look beautiful just as they are. However, I wanted to add a little bit of color, so I am going to dry brush, a pretty heavy dry brush, each plate. One with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, the other one with Rust-Oleum milk paint in the, I forget the name, but I'm going to have them down in the description box. And then the other one is with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the pale pink.
You set my world on fire. I don't know what I'd do without you. You make me smile, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors.
And we're just about done with these guys. I literally just let them dry. I added command hooks, not the hooks, but the ones that are like Velcro to each of the back. And that's what they look like. I think they turned out absolutely stunning. And what's beautiful is you can really customize this to whatever color you want. They could be all white. They could be natural with some colors, whatever you'd like. And I think they turned out so cute.
Like the moon is the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire.
All right, for this DIY, I am going to take this round wooden, not sure what it is. It looks like an ornament, but it was in their crafts section. I removed the little jute twine from it, and now I'm going to take this dowel that I got at Walmart, and I am going to just give it at the end a 45-degree angle, just like you see there. And then I am going to measure 3 inches, and then I am going to cut it straight. And I'm going to do this 3 times using my miter box. I am now going to paint with Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, just 1 coat, only on the rim portion of the circle. I am going to use this fabric from Walmart, and I am going to trace the circle right on top, cut it, and then I am going to glue it using some glue stick. I did trim a little bit of the excess fabric using my rotary cutter. I am now going to just mark what I think it's the middle, and I think I did a good job, but you can always measure. I just like to eye things out sometimes. Now, using hot glue as well as wood glue, I am going to start gluing each little leg onto the bottom. So the 45-degree angle is just going to make it angled. Now, I'm also going to brad nail it so that it's a little bit more secure. I'm going to do this same thing with the other two legs. After I brad nail this last leg, it's basically done. Now it's just time to put a very simple vase on top with a flower. It could be a decor ricer, it could be a flower vase ricer, or it could just be whatever you want it to be. I just think it turned out super, super cute. For this next DIY, I am going to use this Dollar Tree pizza pan, and I'm going to give it 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. Using a sponge stenciling brush, I am going to distress the edges using Waverly ink chalk paint.
Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face. If you wanna go out, we can go out.
I am now going to take these Dollar Tree flowers and I am going to pull them out. I'm going to need 6 of them, and I'm going to cut the stem as close as possible to the base of the flower. I am then going to use the Dollar Tree magnets, and I'm going to need only 6 of them. Then I am going to hot glue each flower onto each magnet. Because I'm running out of Mod Podge, I decided to just take it outside and spray it with this Rust-Oleum clear matte top coat. And it's freezing, guys. So I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it did. It dried pretty quickly, actually, and it dried very well. Using these 2 faux fern bundles, I am going to join them together as well as some flowers from the Dollar Tree, using jute twine, and hot glue them to the top of the pizza pan. And now it's time to add the beautiful little magnet flowers. And that's it, guys. Now we have a beautiful note or picture holder that I think looks super cute even with no pictures on it. Moving along. This next DIY, I am going to use 3 of these buckets from the Dollar Tree and 2 of these extra large painting stirring sticks. At first, I thought I can just freehand it here, but then I took a ruler from the Dollar Tree and used it as a guide so that I know how much width to leave in the middle. And I'm just going to staple each bucket, one in each end, the top and the bottom, and then the other one right in the center. I am now going to take these little chalkboard tags from the Dollar Tree, remove the clothespin, and then using a chalkboard or a chalk marker from Dollar Tree, I am going to write the words oregano, basil, and parsley. And guys, my handwriting is awful, so don't mind the writing, okay? Just imagine it looks nice and pretty. And then hot glue it to the front of each bucket.
The blackbird inside your chest that calls on you to cry. You decided it was time for him to fly out of the darkness and into the light. Higher and higher.
I'm going to hot glue some nautical rope to the back so it can be hung, and that's it. This one is done and is super cute. Now, I do not have any basil or oregano or parsley, but I am going to just put some boxwood because I think it looks super cute. But I think it would look gorgeous. Even if it didn't say that in the front of each bucket, it could say whatever else you'd like.
Out of sight. The whisper inside your heart tells you let go. Time to leave the past. You did what you knew. Slow down and rest. You've been through a war. No one can hurt you anymore. Behind closed eyes, memories unfold.
For this next DIY, I am going to take this flower garden bucket from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to give it 2 brushes or 2 coats of dry brushed chalk paint from Rust-Oleum in the linen white.
Heading back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again. Driving this like a spiritual cleanse, where every mile is a new beginning and every bend holds a new end. Eyes on the road.
I am now going to distress it just a little bit, adding as if it has been rusted through the months. So I am going to use some Waverly Antiquing Wax and a stenciling bristle brush, and I'm going to start just dabbing to the on the bottom rim, and then a little bit brushing it, dry brushing it on the rest of the bucket.
I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away, running through emotions high and low, holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Neon lights in the fast lane light, riding high, reaching for the sky. I had it all but lost and fell back down again.
I am now going to take this drop cloth that I have used over and over again, and I'm going to cut a piece. I want to say it's about 12 inches. It's about a foot wide. And I am going to fold. We see with that rim on the left bottom corner, it already has that rim there. It was already, that fold was already there. So I'm just going to fold it right on that same fold and hot glue it, creating a nice rim.
Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I've lost my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions high and low. Holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day.
All right, so now I am going to place it inside and start hot gluing the hemmed side onto the rim, making sure that it is about the same size on all sides. Now, I did cut it way too short. You're going to see that I'm probably about 2 inches away from the fabric touching each other. So I just ended up having to add a little extra fabric at the end, but no big deal. It turned out really well, and I just have that towards the back of the floral arrangement. And then I'm just going to add some faux boxwood to this one as well. And oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite today. I love the way this one turned out. It's very rustic, but very farmhouse, very fresh looking. Really love the way it turned out.
How did I get caught? The walls are caving in. How come I got lost in this endless spin? Why do I feel so empty deep within? Where did I go wrong? Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I lost my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions high and low. Holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Eyes on the road, don't lose control. I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away.
For this next DIY, I am going to take 4 rulers from the Dollar Tree and remove the black ruler portion of them.
I saw you from across the room.
Taking this little chalkboard sign from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to remove the back of it. And now I'm going to take the rulers and I'm just going to start marking. So I am going to mark 4 of them to be the same width as the inside portion of the top to bottom of the board. And then I'm going to do 4 this side, the horizontal way, and mark. Now you can use your miter box if you have one. This time I decided to use my miter saw, so I went outside in the garage and made the cuts. Once they were cut, now I'm just going to start hot gluing, creating a box on the back of it. It really is all you need. You could use some wood glue if you'd like, but all I really needed was the hot glue, and it was actually sufficient. So I'm going to hot glue 2 on each side of the smaller ones, and then 2 on the bottom and 2 on the back of the larger ones.
When our eyes met, I never knew that I could feel this way, and it's kinda strange. Don't even know your name. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get
have two extra smaller ones, and I decided to just place them right on the back of the board. That way it just adds a little bit more stability, and I did that on the other side. Then using the chalk marker from the Dollar Tree, I decided to write "Love Grows Here." Again, don't mind the handwriting. And then added some grassy faux florals, and I think it turned out so cute.
I think I've waited all these years for you right here. But how will I ever know if you go? 'Cause I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you.
All right, friends, for this next DIY, I am going to take these two buckets. You can find these in the party section of the Dollar Tree. And one of these hats that I have had now for about a year. I get them during the Easter season, so they should be coming out again with these. I am going to just thread out all of these strands of ribbon. So I'm going to cut the first, it's like sewed in the front, and I'm just going to start then pulling it all apart, except for the last few strands, because I decided to keep it for another DIY in the future.
I've been lying here for too long.
I am now going to start hot gluing the ribbon onto the smaller bowl. Now I am going to leave about half of the strand to be an excess towards the bottom, and you're going to see why. But I'm going to start hot gluing all the way around and keep going all the way around. When I get down to the top rim, I'm going to make sure that the ribbon ends right at the edge of the rim.
What else to do? I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. I've been staring at the ceiling, I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me? What the hell am I supposed
I am now
to
going to add hot glue to the bottom, or in this case, the top of the bottom piece, and then place the top larger bucket on top. Now, I did have to then add some E6000 glue because it did come off. So if you're going to recreate something like this, just make sure you add E6000 right away. Something that I should have done and I didn't do was remove these stickers from the bottom. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to take one additional one of those little smaller buckets, and I'm going to use the bottom as a guide, trace it, cut it, and hot glue it inside the flower vase. Now, I wouldn't have to do this if I would have removed the stickers, but because the stickers were now underneath, and this is before the bucket came apart, then you can certainly do that instead. However, you can also paint the bottom if you'd like. And that's it for this one, guys. I'm going to add some florals that I found from the Dollar General, and I think this one turned out so classy. It almost has like a little bit of a boho look. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
I've been running circles, trying to nothing there. And I know there's so much more.
For this next DIY, I'm going to take this canvas sign from the Dollar Tree. And what I like about this canvas is that although Dollar Tree carries plain canvases, this one is square instead of rectangle, and I really like that. I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and I'm going to use a technique that I use quite often, but I hardly ever explain it. Each coat I'm going to do in different directions. So this one I am going to use this side to side, like horizontal, and then once it's dry, I am going to then do the second coat in the opposite direction. That will give it a little bit of a texture to it, and I really love that texture. So as you're painting, you don't have to go in a direction, just keep painting. Once it's fully covered before it dries, just then make sure that you brush from side to side on one direction. So I'm just showing you here, I'm using my heat gun to dry it, and now I'm adding the second coat, and as you can see, I'm going on the opposite direction.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up and hit the road. I just got an awesome vibe. Striking the winner post now.
Now I'm going to use one of these grapevine wreaths that I get on Amazon, but I do know that Dollar Tree carries them. I just have several of these on hand because I get them in a big box. And I'm also going to take these florals from Dollar Tree. I hot glued the grapevine wreath onto the canvas, and now I'm going to add a couple of these, one going up, one going down. I didn't hot glue them, I just basically stuck it right in there. I then took some ribbon from the Dollar Tree and some burlap ribbon, and I am going to make very simple bows and hot glue it in between the flowers.
These on my mind. We've taken off, we've left the ground. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night. This summer night, this summer night. Sleeping in the back of a van, roaming in the wilderness. We don't ever need a plan. We'll be alright, just you and I. Singing from the top of our lungs, dancing by the
We're just about done with this one, and this one turned out so beautiful. Again, one of those that you can really customize and really change up the flowers if you want them white or pink or whatever you want, or maybe even add more florals. I tend to like my wreaths on the simple side, which is why I left it as is, but really it can be done whichever way you want.
while we're young. In a moment it will all be gone. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do.
Alright, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this alphabet puzzle from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to remove the letters, but we're not going to get rid of them because we are going to use them here in a little bit. I'm going to paint the back of it with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy.
I am now going to take 10 of the letters and I'm going to flip them to its back, and I am going to paint 5 of them white and 5 of them black using the Waverly ink chalk paint, and then for the white, the Rust-Oleum chalk paint and the linen white.
Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away. Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find, I'm standing right.
I am going to distress dry brushing the edges of the white ones just a little bit, just to give them a little bit of a dimension and contrast from the white board. Now to the back of it, because it has all these colors and where the letters were, I'm just going to use some glue stick, and I'm just going to glue some felt fabric from the Dollar Tree in the black.
I know that I told
And now I'm going to start setting up these little, what used to be letters, but now they're petals for flowers. And I am going to just start placing them where I think they're going to look cute. I'm going to place 4 for one flower, and then the one of them on the opposite color is going to go right in the center. And I'm just going to hot glue them in place.
Maybe I'm just too weak, maybe I'm just afraid of being alone. Well, I don't care, 'cause right now I feel the love that we said we would burn. Oh, I know that you feel it too. I know that I told you we're over.
Using an Artisa marker, I am going to draw the stems and some leaves. Using this ribbon from Michaels, I am going to make another very simple multiple strand bow and hot glue it to the bottom of the flower stems.
Tonight we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning? Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be?
Using this decal from the Dollar Tree, I already had used a little portion of it, but what's remaining of it I am going to use for this one, and I'm going to cut here and there as I need to make sure that it fits on my small sign, and I'm just going to place it on the board around the flowers.
Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning? Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Till the morning light. 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 I know that I told you.
And we are just about done with this one, guys. What a beautiful little sign. I love black and white, but I just love the way it turned out. And guys, this is seriously an alphabet board. What a beautiful way to use it. And I just think it turned out super cute.
Sailors passing on the street, are you ready for peace?
Start with this beautiful cutting board. Literally, it was like this. I saw it from far and I rushed to it to grab it. It is beautiful, sturdy, solid wood, and all it needed was just a nice little scrub. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I'm making sure that it's very, very dry. Although, you see in the end, it wasn't that dry, but it worked out. It worked out. So just, again, gave it a scrub, dried very well, and then using my Cricut, I designed a decal that says Fresh Honey and some other little details. So I'm just going to apply it right to the center of this cutting board.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up and hit the road. I just got an awesome vibe. Striking the winner post now. Liberty's on my mind. We've taken off, we've left the ground. You got
And you're going to see here what I'm talking about. Apparently the board was not fully dry because this decal was not sticking. And I've used this decal a lot, or this vinyl, and it was just not sticking. But once it was there, it kind of, stuck. But it just gave me the hardest time. So I'm going to speed it up here for you because I'm sure you don't want to see me struggle with that. But just to let you know, things like this happen. You just have to take it very slowly, one part at a time, and it'll work out. So, but that's about it for this one. Because it was already so beautiful and in that beautiful black tone, I did not want to mess with it anymore. I just wanted to add something really cute, and I think it turned out super adorable, fresh new look, and it's in my kitchen and I love it.
Sleeping in the back of a van, roaming in the wilderness. We never need a plan. We'll be alright.
Alright, for this next DIY, I am going to take this wooden cattle crossing sign that I found at the thrift store. I'm just going to give it a quick sand with my palm sander and a 220 grit sandpaper, and then give it a really good scrub. The shape and the color of this sign reminded me of beehives, like, the fresh honey that I just did. So I decided to keep it in the honey bee theme, and I'm just going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And then using my Cricut, I cut out this honeycomb design that I am going to place. Now, I contemplated leaving it this color because it has that kind of golden yellowish tone, but then I decided to do something different. I like things very simple and very subtle. So once I weeded it out, I applied it to the board, or just to the right side of it, a little bit of an angle. Now, I should have done this before I gave it its first coat, but I didn't. I thought about it later. So after the first coat, I let it dry, and then I applied the vinyl, and then I did 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint on top of that. So I did cut the excess that is kind of like overflowing from the edges using an X-Acto knife.
Not long ago, you got hurt, someone did you wrong. I can see it in your eyes.
So you might be thinking, why painted? But I just, I like the things that are simple and subtle. So by distressing it now using my sanding block, I'm going to pull out not just the yellow from the sign that was already there, which I thought was very appropriate for the actual theme of the sign, but also the vinyl. So I'm going very, very softly because I do not want to pull too much. Now, the camera here, it does not do it justice. Let me tell you. You can really see that honeycomb bee kind of theme. You really see the texture. It's just with the camera and the view, the angle, you just can't see it, but it's there. But using my Cricut, I also cut the phrase that says welcome to our hive, as well as another small little bee that I'm going to place right over the honeycomb. And that's it for this one. I contemplated using a rope to hang it, but I just added 2 claw hooks on the back. That way it could be hung. And I just think it turned out so beautiful, so fresh looking. And the board already had that like hexagon. Um, is it a hexagon? I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. That looks like a honeycomb. And I just think it just looks super cute with this. And again, you really can't see the texture of the decal on the right side, but it's there, guys. And I think it turned out so beautiful.
Fire is gone across your face. It is written across your face. If you wanna talk, I'm right here, not gonna leave your side. Just feel free to open up when the moment's right. Across your face, it is written across your face.
All right, this next DIY, I am going to take these 3 wooden carved balls that I think just absolutely beautiful. Now it has some sort of glaze or stain over it that it was just not pretty. So I'm going to give it 2 coats. Actually, it was more about 2.5 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, but it's more of a dry brushing. So it's very light paint because I want to leave some of the edges and the nooks and crannies from all the details to remain dark.
Did you ever stop and think why spend too time, just getting ready. Let me be honest, I don't know one single thing.
And once it was dry, I'm going to take my sanding block once again and just start distressing it. Now, I know distressed look is not for everyone, and I understand that, but it's just my preferred style, my preferred look, and so that's why I'm distressing it. And I think it pulls out a lot of those details, and it just looks so beautiful. But once I'm done distressing, guys, that's it for these. Another easy flip. I really love the way they turned out, and they're actually on my fireplace mantle as we speak, and I love them.
Done to make you notice me. Let me be real here. When I see you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's about.
Alright guys, so for this next DIY is actually one of my favorites from today, and it's this bunny. This bunny is made out of wood, and you can tell it was handmade, but it has seen better days. So I'm just going to remove the arms, the bow that it has on there, and anything that's on top of it, and we're going to give it a fresh look. After everything was removed, I am now sanding it very lightly with a 220 grit sandpaper just to smooth things out and give it a fresh, kind of softer feel, and then give it one heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And again, I'm not looking for perfection. I wanted to have a little bit of bare areas just to kind of give it that distressed farmhouse look.
Heading back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again.
The little flower pot that was actually in front of the bunny, I removed it, and I'm just clipping off here the nails that were just still on it. And then I'm going to give it another quick sand and a 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum milk paint, not the chalk paint, in the Highland blue, which is absolutely stunning, guys. If you do not, I love Rust-Oleum. This is not a sponsor video, but truly it is such a good quality paint. They have chalk paint, of course, you know about their spray paint. They also have milk paint, and it's just beautiful colors, so check them out. So once that was dry, I am now going to attach it to the right side of the bunny towards the bottom, almost like the flower pot is laying on the floor, or not laying, but you know, on the floor next to the bunny. And I'm going to secure it with wood glue and a couple of brad nails.
It's like a spiritual cleanse where every mile is a new beginning and every
Now moving on to the tail. So before, originally, the bunny was facing forward, but this bunny, I want him to be facing backwards. 2 reasons. One, I think they just look adorable with their little bunny tails in the front. And also, I'm not a good like face drawer, so I wanted to avoid drawing a face, eyes, and nose. So we're just gonna go with the back side here. So I'm just gonna take a piece of towel from the Dollar Tree and some pillow stuffing from Walmart, and I'm just gonna start hot gluing it. Just trying to shape it as a ball, and then attach the ball onto the back side of the bunny.
holds a new end. Eyes on the road, don't lose control. I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions high and low. Holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Neon lights in the fast lane light, riding high, reaching for the sky. I had it all but lost and fell.
I am now going to take some of these colorful florals from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start stapling branch by branch onto the flower pot, just on the top side where the flowers would be.
Spent my time playing the game where every single day was a losing battle and every drink was a dead end. Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I've lost my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions.
And now I am going to take this Dollar Tree scarf and wrap it around the neck of the bunny. Originally, I did the bow towards the right side, which is right above the flowers, but later on I did change it to the left because I just thought that right side was a little bit too heavy with the flower arrangement there. And then I'm just going to hot glue some Spanish moss right onto the bottom of the flowers. That way you don't see the staples and it'll just look a lot more nicer. And that's it, guys. This one turned out so adorable.
I saw you from across the room. When our eyes met, I never knew that I could feel this way, and it's kind of strange. Don't even know your name.
I am going to take this thrifted sign. My mother-in-law actually found it at the thrift store and brought it to me, and she wants me to make her a custom wall decor for her home. So I'm going to give it a nice, good clean, and then I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what this could be. I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears
Alright, so now I am going to use some painter's tape to create a border. I am going to just freehand it. I'm not going to measure it, but it's going to be about a 1/2 inch thick, and it's going to go all around the board.
my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause I'm growing up, falling in love.
To avoid any bleed through, I am going to first paint the stripe using the same paint, which is Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. Let it dry, and then I am going to use Waverly ink chalk paint to then have the black line. I learned this trick watching Natalie from Designs to the Nine, and it works really well for her. Now, I did get just one little bleed through in one corner, but no big deal. Once it dried, I was able to fix it with just more white paint.
You're all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said. I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment, babe. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday. And the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away, 'cause you're growing up, falling in love. Giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama.
Using my Cricut, I cut the phrase Avalos Family Farms, which is my mother-in-law's last name, and I am just going to place it right on top as well as the bottom, and then in the center we're going to have some horses, again using the Cricut design space for those. And once I have those guys, we'll be done. This one turned out, it's very simple, but it's so massive. It's very big, and I'm so happy I was able to do this for her, and I know she loves horses, so it'll be nice for her to have in her home.
Weeks and months and years they passed, but then I found something I knew would last.
All right, for this next DIY, we are going to use this Dollar Tree puzzle, and I am going to remove, of course, the plastic liner and the pieces that were in the front. I flipped it over, and now I am going to give it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the ink.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up and hit the road. I just got an awesome vibe. Striking the winner post now. Liberty's on my mind. We've taken off.
Once it was dry, I am going to smooth it out just a bit using a 220 grit sandpaper from the Dollar Tree and dust it off really well. I am now going to use a glue stick and just place glue all over the back. We're going to cover those spots there, and we're going to use some felt fabric from the Dollar Tree and make sure it's nicely trimmed on the side so it looks very nice.
You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night.
And using my Cricut, once again, I cut out the phrase, "but first coffee," and I'm going to place it right in the center.
Sleeping in the back of a van, roaming in the wilderness. We never need a plan. We'll be alright, just you and I. Singing from the top of our lungs, dancing by the lakeside. Gonna do it while we're young. In a moment it will all be gone. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause
I then cut a piece of trim. This is a 1x1 trim that I had already on hand. I cut 4 pieces after I measured and knew what I needed to cut using my miter saw. And here I'm just kind of measuring, making sure that it all fits. Then I'm going to attach it using wood glue and brad nails.
we never need a plan. We'll be alright, just you and I. Singing from the top of our lungs, dancing by the lakeside. Gonna do it while we're young. In a moment it will all be gone. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night. The summer night, the summer night. The summer night, the summer night. Someday we will look back, and our hearts will be whole again. I want to remember all that happened to us. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night.
I had a little bit of wood glue dry, and it had like a glossy kind of look. So I'm just gonna just cover it up or touch it up with some more black paint. And then I'm going to take this Artisa marker, and I'm just going to do the eye or the dot in the eye because it was missing, and then steam from the coffee. And I think it turned out super, super cute. Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this round plaque from the Target dollar spot. It was $3 and it's actually a pretty good size. I'm going to remove the jute twine as you see me doing here, and then I am going to tape a couple of spots, one on the bottom and one on the top, and then I am going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum milk paint in the Highline blue.
Sailors passing on the street, are you ready for peace? Ships are filling up fast.
I am now going to tape over the blue section, and I am going to make a couple thicker lines, and I am going to stain them using Waverly Antiquing Wax and then removing them just to give it a little bit more of a stain antique look.
Ready for ease? Forget bad memories and leave those hurting knees behind. Birds are filling up the sky. Are you willing to try? Sing along as they hum and be fulfilled. Many more will come, many more under the sun.
And I did get a little bit of bleed through on this one as well. So to fix it, I did use a wet rag to remove it, and a lot of it removed. Now, it was not perfect, and it was one of those moments where I just thought if I keep trying to fix it, I think I'm just going to make it worse. So I just left it as is. It's by all means is not perfect, but I think it still turned out really, really cute. Using my Cricut, I cut out the word welcome and replace the O with a paw, which I think is super cute. And I'm going to place it towards the bottom of the sign, and it's going to be a little bit of on a tilted kind of angle. And then I am going to make a greenery or a flower, I guess, like a little swag for the top. I'm going to use these greeneries. This is from the Target dollar spot. And then I'm going to use some baby's breath that I got on Amazon, and just to kind of add a little bit of a white tone to it. And then I'm going to join everything together using some jute twine and hot glue it to the top.
Like your finest suit, we will keep it steady. We will be the confetti. If we fail, we just reboot.
Using this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to make a very simple bow, tie it in the center with some jute twine, and hot glue it to the center of the floral. And then I am going to take more of that same ribbon, and I'm just going to cut a piece. It's maybe about 12 inches, maybe 14 or so. And I'm just going to loop it on the back, hot glue it, and that's going to be where we can hang it from. And guys, it is really hard to pick a favorite, but I think this one might be one of my favorites. I love the colors. I love how fresh and crisp it looks, and it's just so cute. I love it.
Grass is greener on this side. Are you ready for new? New beginnings, new pride. Let your spirit shine through. Many more will come.
Alright, for this next DIY, I am going to take this Dollar Tree bunny sign and remove the little bunny tails. Then I'm going to sand off most of the glitter. I'm not looking for perfection. I just need most of it to be a little bit more smoother than what it is. Dust it off really, really well. And then I am going to take more of that glue from that glue stick, put it all over the sign, and then I'm going to use a stock paper that I got at Michael's, and I'm just going to glue it. Now you're going to see that not all of it was covered, but I am going to then piece it together using the scrap that was left over. This welcome wooden sign I got at the Target dollar spot. I'm just going to spray paint it using Rust-Oleum spray paint in a flat white. I am now going to drill on the same area where the holes were already there, but I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger and making sure that it goes through the other side. I am then going to take some jute twine, add a little bit of painter's tape just so that I can thread it through the holes, knot them in the front, and then I'll have something to hang the sign from. I'm now going to attach the wooden welcome using hot glue and place it towards the bottom of the sign, giving it a little bit of a tilt. Using some Dollar Tree florals, I'm now going to make a little bundle just to hot glue it there to the right side of the sign. I'm going to join them together using some jute twine, attach it, and then we'll be done with this one, guys. Another beautiful one, and so simple and so inexpensive. For this next DIY, I am going to start here with this Dollar Tree little chalkboard sign. I am going to give it 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, only on the chalkboard portion of it. I'm going to leave the rest in that natural wood tone. I am now going to take this wreath from the Target dollar spot. It was $3. I'm going to remove the ribbon as well as the tag, and then I'm going to start separating the little branches, just making it a little bit bigger. I want this wreath to have a little bit more fullness and look or seem a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take these Dollar Tree leaves and I'm going to start placing them right in between the branches of the wreath, hot gluing them in place and making sure it looks as natural as possible.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on. I put my feet up. And we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling. Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
Using my Cricut, I cut out the phrase, "It's so good to be home." I'm going to place it right in the center of the little sign.
If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. Forever. Forever.
I'm going to loop this buffalo check black and white ribbon from the Dollar Tree. Just knot it and then just making sure that the knot falls towards the bottom and the back of it. That way I can hang the wreath from there.
I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete.
I am now going to hot glue the little sign right in the center of the wreath. Now I am just making sure that the sign falls right in it, but I want it to look like the sign has been there and this wreath is just all growing all around it. So I want it to really be snug right in between all the leaves and all the little branches. So using hot glue, I'm going to hot glue it, and then I'm going to make sure that the branches and the leaves, again, kind of like some of them just fall right on top of it and look as natural as possible. All right, friends, we are just about done here. I think this one turned out super cute, but let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. I know there's a ton of information, a ton of DIYs here, but which one stood out to you the most? Let me know. If you are visiting for the first time, thank you so much for visiting. I hope that you consider subscribing and joining our YouTube family. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I'm going to have a playlist here with tons more of mega videos, tons more of inspiration for you. Check it out. I'll see you later, guys, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.